Welcome to the Building Digital micro conference on digital tools from data to sustainability, measuring and reducing carbon emissions in construction projects. I'm your host and chair today. My name's Joseph Broon. I'm the Managing Director of Building Digital. And we're joined today by three really interesting speakers talking about reducing carbon emissions on site and the technology there to support it. Moving on to our second keynote of today's session, which is from Pierpaolo Franco, a regular on the Building Digital circuit, having spoken at UK Construction Week on the stage that we organised, Digital Construction Stage. Today, Pierpaolo is taking on the carbon challenge, leveraging digital tools for sustainability in construction. Pierpaolo is the VP International Market Development at Glodon. So Pierpaolo, you are free to share your screen.
Thank you and good morning, everybody. So as I was saying, Pierpaolo Franco, I'm looking after the international business development of Glodon. And my area of interest is EMEA. I want to take the opportunity because I believe the majority of you may be a bit alien to our company, so don't spend too much time in description of what we are, but just to give you an idea, Glodon is a digital solution provider for the construction, embracing the whole spectrum and from design to operation. Glodon is the #1 company in China with a very much sizable end user, as you can see, 10 million plus. We have been doing 6 million more of projects, and we mostly operate with corporate customers. It's an organization having more than 20 years of history that has started a few years ago, 8, 9 years ago, a journey towards the international market to develop itself, but also to open the understanding and the knowledge of the other market and brings together knowledge, technology, and talent. As you can see, we have different area of the world where we operate. In Southeast Asia, for proximity to China, is the place where we have most developed. 10 years ago, we opened also a research center that is specialized with artificial intelligence in the United States, and we have an initial footprint in Europe organically, but we have made a few acquisitions, and so we have a non-organic growth with other companies that are fully owned, like Magicad, that you might know in MEP. We operate in Europe. You can see that might be a bit strange, this slide with on the bottom a number of buildings, is because we have made this journey towards a progressive digitalization, and we have used our own building that has been built with the exclusion of Shanghai One that has been bought from the market, progressively using the technology that Glodon has developed up to the Xi'an building that has been finished in 22 and in operation from last year, and we are building the Glodon, and we apply our technology, so an all life cycle digital solution to the building to apply what we do and test and improve and have a research and development that is not just and only on a theoretical basis that is then given to the client, but it's also experiment onto our own assets. Today, the main theme, of course, is carbon, and as far as my view is concerned, of course, there are many angles, and Andy has brought very, very good points that I do agree with him. The angle that Glodon can propose and see this is how the use and the adoption of digital solution from the less complex to the more complex, like a full end-to-end platform, can support this journey to improve the built and natural environment, taking first under control and then posing targets for the ongoing decrease of the carbon footprint up to reach the objective and targets that organization has posed to themselves, or the government has posed as target for the organization working in a particular country. So there are obvious challenge, and I do agree that it's still, despite these many years that we are talking about sustainability at large, and then in particular the life cycle carbon, the cost of the carbon, how we calculate, and the way we can monitor and manage, but we don't have a lot of universal performance indicator, as in many areas of the world there is still a lack of legislation. There are frameworks that like the life cycle management, carbon management, that the RICS, my previous company, by the way, has put in the market, that define a framework but doesn't define the way need to be calculated. And there is a lack of homogeneity in the data. This represent big challenges, even though maybe there are tools, and I believe digital tools can help a lot, but in absence of lack of clarity about key performance indicator and the way the data are aggregated and the origin of the data, can give misleading to what we achieved. So it's a working in process, but we are definitely moving on as an industry. The inefficient of data that I was alluding brings, an urgent needs for data aggregation that are linked to a legislation framework that still we don't have, that is linked to transparency and accountability on the data that sometimes we don't have. And then, as I said, how efficiently we can allocate resources to project and activities, material and immaterial resources, human resources, and machinery equipment, and anything that contributes to a project towards a set of targets that need to be achieved, and then benchmark for data. You can very easily understand that if you don't have a common database on which sit our performance, these can be a bit arbitrary and not objective, and represent a challenge. So an industry sector monitor and manage data in a way that are different from another similar organization in the same environment. They both say that they're reaching target, but they are not really benchmarked one on the other, because there are not a common ground. In other environment, like this is a common to any database and data intensive environment. If we think about the cost for construction, is quite challenging. Define an absolute benchmark of cost of similar projects that are happening in different places, because the standards are not very much applied for that. So you can have an ICMS standard in that case that overarch the construction cost at international level, but then you have different rule of measurement on the back. Some organizations are using a certain type of benchmark, a certain type of others, and so the base of cost is not comparable. So the same things it's going to happen when we speak about data related to the sustainability, and as an industry we are facing this type of challenges. The role of how we progressively deploy technology, I believe that is substantial in the way we can contribute to clarity about this data, because are coming from a unique source of truth. My preference, this is of course a personal opinion, and what I've seen from the application that we have on the ground, is that if you deploy a set of technology through a platform approach that can in a very organic way have a data collection and analysis that go through the end-to-end cycle. We can enforce real-time monitoring, and we can make the most of the model that we have at disposal. We can analyze this data, and we can have a certain type of insurance that these data are correct, and then of course need to be still put in a legislation framework, and still need to be told which are the real parameters that we need to analyze and see. Of course, it's not that an adoption of tools that are digital but just relevant to a particular area of the business. Imagine the monitoring or the inactive monitoring of the construction site doesn't mean that for that doesn't contribute. But what I'm saying is that if we have the possibility to deploy a platform that from the beginning to the end is able to capture all the business data, including the one that are related to the sustainability, it is an ideal scenario. Therefore, if we bring the sustainability into a new paradigm that is creating a virtual cycle that comes from a virtual design, a virtual detail design, and then a design, and then a digital supported supply chain, the construction, and then the operation, well, it's all linked, interlinked, and monitored. Here we have an optimal situation if we have, of course, a digital tool that allows that, rather than having a multitude of tools that are digital solution related, that has challenges and difficulties in speaking to each other, that create data silo within the data silo, that are still in the construction a big plague, and therefore it creates an advantage not only from the direct way that is to monitor the data and consider the data that are related to a sustainable aspect, but because in this way you can really optimize through the entire life cycle the design, the construction, and the operation to make it short, and therefore the entire supply chain and the all stakeholder are using a unique environment. It's not easy, of course, and it is not something that is very common. We are extremely lucky in our main market, that is China, that we have developed such a huge footprint that we have a very dominant position, and therefore we have been deploying progressively the technology, and we can make the most of our design platform, our construction platform, our intelligent site management platform, and our operation platform, and create really this digital environment that improve significantly operation and profitability of the industry, but and as subsequent things it's also create a better living environment. We've definitely decreased the carbon footprint and create a more sustainable building for the part that is relative to the construction and the pre-construction, but most for the operation and the maintenance of the building, because everything is captured and digitalized. In this example, we have used this very much approach in our building, one of our building, as I mentioned, that is in Xi'an in China, and we have deployed this process from digital end to end. So we have simulate each and every aspect of the building and each and every phase of the building before that the phase happened, and then doing the actual process. So before going into the construction, we have simulated construction, because before going the detailed design, we have simulated, and so on and forth. And as I said, this building started to be in construction, I believe, in 2018, end of the 2018-19, and came in operation end of 2022. Without going too much technical detail and the way that we have been doing this, I just draw the attention to the things that we have achieved and that has been monitored. So we have been going faster than in comprehension, so 7% faster than what we were thinking, and it's also to be considered that it has been done in full pandemic. So we have probably slowed down a bit, so we would have been going faster than the 7%. We have used 5% less than the personnel across the project that is used compared to other projects of similar size and intensity of work. We have achieved zero reconstruction thanks to the simulation process. Again, we have monitored how the collaboration has happened in other buildings that we have done before and in similar projects, and we have found that it is improved in something that in this case can be a bit subjective as a data, but it is, in our opinion, improved on about 70%. And we have saved on the budget that we have put for this construction 300K converted in pound. And then there has been in construction other contribution that you can see here in formwork, in timber, concrete, and so on, that can be translated in both a better profitability for the industry, a better performance for the industry, the construction company, our main contractor, and all the supply chain. But this can be converted into the sustainability aspect, because of course you work faster, so you are less time into the site, you create less pollution, then you have saved formwork, and you have done zero reconstruction, so there is less material that is waste. The all waste is is reduced. We have reduced a ton of steel. You know that the produce of steel production is one of the most intensive pollution industry that exists. So with the help and the support of the technology, we have achieved substantial results in terms of performance of the industry itself that are translated into a better built environment. Now, with this building, as said, we are in operation for a few months, and therefore it's a bit early to monitor, to give results of how the operation are really going. But it seems that we are tracking well in terms of sustainable footprint, or carbon footprint, apologies. That doesn't, what I was saying before, and I continue to say, is that this is an extreme example that we have been able to deploy a design platform and an operational platform, a construction platform, digital, that has supported that. But I do believe that even taken in tranches, or imagine just to deploy a smart site, so a site that is intelligent and interconnected with hardware and software that can detect fumes, can support area of risk for people and materials, can automatically count the rebound that are coming into the site, and make sure that there are not errors, that can track the flux of the material in and out. And we have deployed such technology. It is a single contribution that if we are able to manage the data, and if we are able to compare this data, because there is a framework on that, we will be able also to understand better how much we have saved. Now, maybe it's a bit arbitrary because, as I said before, we don't have this common framework. Of course, there are other many examples, but the time that we have at disposal is not that much, and so definitely I'm very happy to try to answer the question that you have, or also on a separate opportunity to speak with each and every one of you. So thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Pierpaolo, for a very interesting presentation.